Welcome, everybody. It is episode 6 of the Ringside Rewind podcast with Matt and Andre. And as you guys can see on the screen, for those of you who are listening, we've got a special guest here today, none other than the wonderful, fabulous, and tantalizing Tony himself. Tony, go ahead and say what's up to the viewers and listeners of our podcast, man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, your boy Tantalizing Tony, one half of the greatest father-daughter wrestling podcast under God's hot sun, walking on God's green earth, the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are listening, all over the world, the stratosphere, and the Tantalizing verse.
Absolutely. We appreciate you having you be on here, man. And Matt, go ahead and say hello to the wonderful viewers and listeners of our podcast.
What's up, pro wrestling world? Welcome back to the Ringside Rewind. And we are honored to have Tony here with us today. And I look forward to asking him some questions and talking with him.
Absolutely, man. We've got an exciting podcast on our way. We're so excited to have Tony as our first guest on our podcast. Tony, you got something to say?
Yeah, before you guys get into the questions, the answers, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, and everything, let me say this, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It means a lot to me. We did talk off camera about what this meant to me. I want everybody watching to just listen very carefully to these two guys because they're very knowledgeable what they do. If you don't know who they are, you will after this. And I'm so glad to be here. I want to thank you for having me. No need to thank me because this is what I do.
Well, we appreciate you. When we look up to you, like we were saying, Matt and I, we really do appreciate you having the time to be on here, and we're just here to learn and have a conversation, talk pro wrestling, man. Do what we love to do and whatnot. So let's just jump straight into it. Tony, you were at the Royal Rumble in Saudi. You were in Saudi Arabia for not only just the Royal Rumble, but also the SmackDown prior. Tell us about that experience. Like, how was the trip? How was the food? How was the travel? Start from just the very beginning of when you were able to go to that event.
So much to unravel with the Royal Rumble, the travel, the preparation. First, let me shout out my boy Matt Kimke of the Vlog Warriors. If you guys don't know who he is, go to YouTube, check out the Vlog Warriors, check out Matt Kimke, Kempke. He sponsored my whole trip because Tantalizing Tony ain't making a big bucks yet and can't afford that kind of trip. So I went there to get footage for him and to get content for him. So thank him for that. I'm an honorary Vlog Warrior. What a vlog! That's a shout out from my boy Matt Kimke. So what happened was he basically wanted me to go. He says, Tony, I got a great opportunity for you. How would you like to go to Saudi? And I was like, Saudi Arabia? He goes, is there any other place? I'm like, I don't know. So I really didn't. I was on the fence because when WWE announced that they were going to Saudi, I was one of the main people like, this is BS. I ain't pissed. And this was nothing against the Saudi people and the country. That wasn't what it was about. I was being selfish for me because I'm like, how am I going to Saudi Arabia? I was pissed. Like, I'm gonna miss WrestleMania. And if you know me, I've been to just about. Oh yeah, I've been to every Mania except COVID. So I've done my. I'm 58 by the way in 2 months. So I've been into everything. And I was really upset about it. I'm like, what are they doing to us? Like, this is not right. This is not fair. But then I thought about like, look, WWE is a global company. Us as Americans, we are spoiled. In aspects we think we deserve everything, and we really don't because it is global and we got to deal with it. But I just felt that maybe London, England should have got it first. So I was upset for my fans in London. But other than that, it wasn't a personal thing to Saudi because I'll get into the Saudi people shortly. But I was just like, man, how am I going to pull this off? And then the opportunity came that Matt Kimke says, hey, Tony, I'm going to fly you out, pay your airfare, pay your hotel, pay your accommodations. What am I going to do? I can't say no at this point. You know, I'm like, I'm going for it. So it was very, very nerve-wracking on preparation before the trip. What do I take? What can I take? What am I allowed to take? What am I allowed to do? I had to actually research what I was allowed to do in Saudi because when it comes to the culture, you got to be careful of who you talk to, what you say. Can I bring my title belts with me? What is legal? So that was the main thing. Now, the stress level of that is one thing. Then the flight with the connection from Newark Airport to Frankfurt, Germany to Saudi is another 19, 20-hour endeavor, which is another thing entirely because I'm afraid to fly. So I got to take some Xanax. I need a drink, you know. So it's a whole bunch. It's a whole situation. So there's so much things going into when you travel far away. And the last thing is now, once you're on the plane flying over Jerusalem, flying over Dubai, you're like, man, I'm really going to another country. I'm going to the Middle East, which is like, I was in the service, so I've been places, but not on my own, without my troop, without my sergeant, without my captain. It's just me, Oos. It's just me alone. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do once I get there? So you got the trepidation of what exactly do you expect? Because you don't know. You can read all the magazines and go on the internet, but you don't know till your boots on the ground, literally. And once my feet hit Saudi Arabia, it was full guns a-blazing, pun intended. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So it was a whole process, but it was great. Wow.
Wow, that was quite the experience. You know, when we saw you, you made that announcement, I was like, no way. Like Saudi Arabia, I'm like, there's not a lot of people, at least from the States, you know, going to that. When you went there and you arrived, did you see any other Americans that were there?
So the only people that I knew were going in aspects of content creation were the Haroon twins, who are from Canada, and my boy Alan Owens, who's from Strong Island, New York. Shout out to Alan Owens from New York, baby. But other than that, a lot of Americans, there were some Americans there, but there were not a lot of Americans there. If you weren't part of media or content creating, I don't think people went as casual fans. I did meet two people in my hotel that were one of guys from North Carolina and somebody from Texas. So there were a few pockets, but I guarantee you there weren't more than maybe, I'd say 100 to 150 Americans there, if that. I did not meet a lot of Americans on the ground. I really did not. So I was definitely in the minority. And you're watching this, I'm the minority, and let's keep it 100. And it's different. It's funny because when you go to Saudi Arabia, my skin color is brown, and my skin color is the same skin color as these guys. So you would think that maybe we have a little common ground in aspects of that. And some of the Saudis do see it that way, but some of them do not. So as a culture shock, and Pete Rosenberg asked me this on Cheap Pete. Shout out to my boy Pete Rosenberg. He says, Tony, as a black man, what was it like going over there for you? And, you know, being looked at differently. And I was like, Pete, it was so weird because I didn't see it that way because I don't see color, which is crazy. I do, but I don't. I mean, of course, we're all cognizant, but I'm not prejudiced at all. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm brown, they're brown, we're going to see eye to eye, but it's not always that way. So the culture shock was everything to me. But as for Americans coming there, wow. For Alan Owens, who is Jewish, and Pete Rosenberg, who's Jewish, to be there, boots on the ground, God bless them as well, you know? So it was really tough to figure it out.
With that said, Tony, let me ask you, with WrestleMania going there next year in 2027 for WrestleMania 43, do you think we're going to see a big push to get Americans over there?
They've got to do something to make us want to go. Because I will say this, I do believe there's a little bit of animosity from the American fans towards WWE that they went to Saudi. And what people have to realize is this. You can have your opinion. We're all allowed to have our opinion, but everything is business, guys. Things about money. So I want to put this question to you guys, and maybe you guys can answer me and start interviewing your own show, but this is what I do. If someone says, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million to go to Saudi to cover this, are you going to do it?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Absolutely.
It's about the money. I don't care about the politics. I'm trying to get paid too. And WWE thinks of that on a different level. They have shareholders. They have people they have to answer to. So you have to realize this is a business. As much as it's sports entertainment and entertain us, listen, any sport, the Super Bowl is today as we're taping this. They're making billions of dollars in commercials. It's about the almighty dollar. Capitalism is where it is. So we got to remember that. We got to stop taking everything so personal, like, oh, it's against us. Because I don't have a problem with them going to Paris. I think Paris crowd was great. I think the Puerto Rico crowd was great. But for some reason, when it's a Middle Eastern country, we as Americans be like, and we can't think that way because we're just as bad as the other people that think that way. So we got to remember, take yourself out of it for a minute and look at it from another point of view that you might not see. So yeah, but as for Mania, I think that the WWE has to find a way to motivate us to want to go. Ticket prices were not that bad, and we could get into that in a little while. But I really think that they got to market better to make us want to go to Saudi and let us know that we will be safe over there. Because for the most part, I was safe. There were some issues here and there, and we can get into that. But it was it's gonna be very interesting to see what WWE does in next year.
Absolutely. You know, with obviously WWE becoming, it's been an international brand, but the fact that they're branching out, you know, having the first WrestleMania outside of the United States in Saudi Arabia is huge. And so with that being said, you know, you were at SmackDown, you were at the Royal Rumble. Tell me about the process of obtaining your ticket, as well. How was the atmosphere there?
Okay, so ticket wise, you had to go through something called WeBook. So for Saudi, start looking at your tickets right after WrestleMania because they're gonna go on sale, believe it or not. So look up WeBook, and you want to get your tickets fast as possible because you don't want to go through a third party. Because I went through StubHub, but I got lucky. So once you get your ticket, make sure you have the app. It's digital through your phone, and you have your ticket on your phone. Now, my SmackDown ticket was only $26.
Wow.
And I think that was due to the price dropping and people not going. And then my Royal Rumble ticket was I think $1.15 or $1.26 with fees, somewhere around there. So very cheap ticket wise, very cheap. So you save right there. If you can get your tickets fast from WeBook and not get that third party deal, you should be okay. That's number one. Number two, in aspects of SmackDown and actually the actual show, very different in aspects of what you see in the stands. So a lot of people in the stands, you're not at your seat the entire time because you're not allowed to eat at your seat. So you have to go get your food, eat at the fan zone, and come back up. So a lot of people saw empty seats because of those little light things at the light post on the seats. There were people there, but for SmackDown, it was some empty seats. It was not a sellout. And for Rumble, it was just about the capacity. But like I said, a lot of people leave their seats to go eat. And you travel, if you have a wife and kids, the husband, the wife, and the kids all go together. You don't leave your kids at the seat. You don't leave your wife alone. So if you had 8 people with you, 8 people went with you. So you see pockets of places in the stands where it seems like there's nobody there, but they're getting food, they're getting drinks and stuff like that. One thing I just realized, I never went to the bathroom the whole time I was there. So I don't even know what the bathrooms look like. I don't even know where they were. Because it was a makeshift arena. They made the arena in 20 days. So I don't even know where the bathrooms were, which is weird. I just thought about it. I didn't go to the bathroom the whole time I was at the arena for 13 hours. Wow.
Wow.
And you were on the floor for that SmackDown, or at least for that first portion of the show, correct?
So Alan Owens, shout out again to him. Follow Alan Owens on Instagram, YouTube. Alan. He's great at what he does, but he had an extra seat for the floor at SmackDown, gave it to me, which was great. I loved it. We were right on the rail. But what happened was this, is because it's not security like American security where they make you sit down, and the kids outnumber security, they allowed the kids to run from the back seats to the rails. They would knock you out of the way to get to the rails. So I'm like sitting there trying to get footage and get people, to record, and they're knocking my phone, they're stepping on my toes. I'm like, nah. I went back into my original seat, which was hard cam side. I'm right there level to the ring. I'm like, I'm going back to my seat. So as great as the seat was, and thank you for Alan Owens, I had to go back to my seat because I couldn't deal with all the kids standing on the chairs, and then adults are standing on seats. I'm 5'7". These guys are 6'2", and then they're standing on a chair. So now they're 7'8". So it's like, no, I'm out of here.
Tony, tell us about the ramp. The stage was phenomenal. It looked like a WrestleMania setup like stage, but that ramp was super long for the entrances. And I didn't see a lot of the superstars interacting with the fans. Usually they slap hands and stuff, but that ramp was super long. Tell us about the ramp.
They were probably so blown up and winded from having to walk so long. That's the thing. But the stage was elaborate, and it was, that whole thing was an LED board because for SmackDown it looked different. And if you look for the Royal Rumble, that whole thing was a giant LED board. Incredible.
So It was an actual structure. It was just an LED board.
It was a structured LED board. It was
gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
LED board. Yeah, it was crazy. It was incredible. I was like, what? Because when I came the next day, I had a different vantage point. I was like, did they switch the set? It was crazy. They spared no expense when it came to that stuff. Now the actual arena was made with tarp. What's the PVC pipe? Is that what it's called? And zip ties.
That's incredible.
It was zip ties. I have pictures. I'll send them to you guys. It was zip ties, the giant PVC pipe and giant tarp that was like this industrial strength tarp, but you could tell there was still zip ties on the ground and pieces of pipe on the floor. Like, bro, it was crazy. And what they did was, I think what they did was when they did it, they tightened it, tied it off, and went to the next level. It was actually, I could see the structures. It was crazy. I'm gonna look for a picture on my phone because it was nuts. I was like, how'd they do this? But yeah, it was weird. It was weird. But they did it in 20 days. Now for WrestleMania, they ain't gonna fly because that place only sat 20 to 25,000 people. It was no more than that. Trust me on that. So
with the let's talk about the Royal Rumble here. Speaking of atmosphere, we heard it a little bit on TV. Who were some of the bigger pops and who were some of the people that didn't get so much of a pop?
I can tell you who the 3 biggest pops were of the night. In order, starting from 3 to 1. Number 3 was Brie Bella. Number 2 was Rhea Ripley. And number 1 was Roman Reigns. Those are the top 3 pops. If anybody says that's not true, I dare you guys to go back and check for yourselves. The Saudi fans are very tribal in who they like and what they follow. They're very nostalgic. So Roman Reigns is their Rock. They see him as the Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin. So whenever they played something on this big screen, like a Stone Cold or Undertaker or Shawn Michaels, they went nuts. They love Attitude Era. Because you got to realize Saudi don't have the TV we have, so they watch everything through YouTube, and YouTube is very prevalent on stuff from back in the day. So they were when Brie and Nikki got together in the ring, they popped for them because you got the Bella twins, first time in like 7 years in the ring together. So that was big. In aspects of who they hated Lash Legend. Now I don't know because she was a woman and because she was black. I'm just saying what it is. They hated her. Every time she eliminated somebody, they were screaming, overrated. And I took offense. I was like, what do you mean? I said, she's chucking everybody. What do you mean she's overrated? Like, you guys are crazy. One other thing I want to really put a really emphasis on was the national anthem. So when they announced the singing of the American national anthem, everybody purposely sat down and they booed. Now, I'm not saying that this was personal, but I think they were just standing up for their country doing their thing. So I stood up in my section. I was in my front row of my section. I stood up and I looked back at everybody like, I was nervous. And as respect for them, when their national anthem played, I stayed standing. I stood, and they looked at me like, I said, hey, guys, I'm an American, but I respect your country. I'm going to stand for your anthem too. And they were like, bro, and they gave me a lot of respect for that. Now, 2 guys in the stands were like, oh, you Americans, blah, blah, blah. I said, let me tell you something, bro. This one, the Brooklyn came out of me. I said, I'm going to say this 100, and this might be not the safest thing for me to say, but I'm not worried. I said, you realize that the WWE is an American company, right? And we came here to see you. Be thankful, because when you're booing me, you're booing the boys and the girls in the back that are putting their bodies online for your sports entertainment. And people applauded me. I was like,
wow.
So remember that. Now, one dude said, yo, bro, you got balls. Listen, I'm from Brooklyn. The whole time, I was like this. I was shaking in my boots. I was thinking, oh, God, hope these guys don't jump me. Because this is not just a Saudi thing. This is a people thing. In any freaking arena in America, someone can mess with you. So it wasn't because of that. I stood up for myself. I stood up for the USA because before anything, guys, listen, I'm born here. I love here. But I do love everybody, but I want to stand up for our country, and I want them to see, like, yo, it's not about us fighting each other. It's about us coming together. So They respected me after that. Those 2 guys dapped me up and everything afterwards. So, boom. Thank God,
Tony, you mentioned the Attitude Era, and that is my generation. That is my time. That's where I fell in love with the show. I think I remember the first stunner heard around the world in Madison Square Garden on Mr. McMahon. That's how I fell in love with it. And I just thought about that when you said that they didn't, the Attitude Era never went to Saudi. So they never saw Stone Cold, the Rattlesnake. They never saw The Undertaker live. They never saw Shawn Michaels or The Rock saying, just bring it. When did you fall in love with pro wrestling? I fell in love with pro wrestling because of that. I was hooked on the Mr. McMahon Stone Cold storyline from 97 all the way through 2001, every Monday night, glued to the TV. When did you fall in love with the pro wrestling?
So this is emotional for me. And if anybody knows me and watches this, they know I cry at the drop of a dime. So my uncle Andy, who died in mid 80s, he used to take me to everything. We're from New York. I'm from Brooklyn, but we lived in Manhattan, and we went to MSG, Madison Square Garden, every last Monday of the month. So I was there when Hogan beat the Iron Sheik. I even go back further where the Soul Patrol, Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson beat the Samoans in Poughkeepsie for the tag titles. So I go back. I've always loved wrestling because it kept me close to my Uncle Andy. He took me to the first WrestleMania. So I was there with Hogan and Mr. T versus Orndorff and Roddy Piper. I was there with Muhammad Ali, there with Liberace. I was at the Garden. I was at the first Monday Night Raw in the Manhattan Center. I was at Raw 10, 20, 30. I was at Raw Netflix. I've been to a lot of things for my love of wrestling. So I've loved it since I was a kid because of my Uncle Andy. And my Uncle Andy died. And I kept the tradition up of going to WrestleMania for him. That's why I go so much. So I've been a fan since I was maybe 7 years old. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is one of the reasons why I wrestled. Him and Macho Man Randy Savage are my favorites of all time. I'm a former professional wrestler. I came up in Long Island, HWA, then worked at ECW. And I've loved it since I was a little kid. So every time I see it at 57, almost 58 years old, I've been a fan 50 years. It's still, to me, it's like, it makes me feel young. If you look at me and you're watching this on the screen, I don't look 58. And I don't feel it because wrestling legitimately keeps me young. I love this business. I love everything it does. I love what it does for people. I love the camaraderie. I love how we get to interact with each other. Wrestling fans are like no other fans. We're not like baseball fans, basketball, football, soccer. We are so different because this is an orchestrated, predetermined, scripted sport that we know is like it's predetermined, but we still love it. It's like the Avengers aren't real, but we love the Avengers, right? So any non-wrestling fan watching and say, "Oh my God, that wrestling's so fake," I implore you to take a chair shot from Tantalizing Tony and see if it's fake. So I'm a fan of the business. I love it. I love everything about it.
And I've said it. Oh, I'm sorry. I've said it so many times that it's multi-generation. So you got grandpas bringing their grandkids, that bring in their children. I love it. And I talk about it. It brings all cultures together, no matter race, creed, religion. That's one thing I love about this sport.
What a great point, because so I'm 58, right? I'll be 58. My oldest son is 39, and I used to take him to everything. Then I have another set of kids. My son's 24. My daughter Kira is 21. My daughter Kyla's 25. They all go. And I have an 8-year-old son, Michael, who goes to the shows. So I'm 58. He's 8. So he goes to the shows. And I have a granddaughter who's going to be 3 on April 18th, WrestleMania weekend. And I'm going to take her to her first show. So it's multi-generational. So that means I'm taking my uncle took me. I was like his son. And, he would have been like, I guess 100 at this point. So like it goes down. You do pass it on to your family members. It's like an heirloom. It's like something that means a lot to you. But wrestling right now, it's something that it's intangible, but tangible at the same time. It's so weird how it is,
Honestly, and you make a great point. I mean, it just brings everybody to come together. I mean, me and Matt, we've been brothers since day one. We met each other at that same night. We all met each other. Me, you, and him. We all met each other the same night, Raw on Netflix. And I was standing right behind Matt. I was dressed as Jey Uso. That caught his attention. I was taking pictures with kids, other adults and whatnot. They were, hyped the fact that I looked like him and whatnot. And you had actually interviewed me.
I was hyped that you looked. I was like, oh my God, you look great. I was hyped.
Yeah. And so it's just crazy how a year later now we're all sitting here, Matt and I, we've followed you. I remember you giving me your business card to your podcast. I remember it's that same when I was sitting in my seat and had some downtime waiting for the show to start. I looked up your podcast, followed you immediately. I saw you had posted the clip. And yeah, it's crazy to think that a year later, we're all sitting here. We've started our podcast, Matt and I. You're out here doing your thing, traveling the world, going to all these shows, and it's just amazing to see what it brings because that's essentially what it brought all of us, and that's why we're sitting here all today. Super Bowl Sunday, man. So
it's crazy. It's crazy because people don't realize if you're an outsider looking in, like women, a lot of women don't get it. They think we're nerds, and we are. But they watch Bridgerton. I mean, so like. And I try to get in. I'm like, okay, I see why you get it. So I always try to look at what they see. And people are, oh, you guys are this, you guys are that. Yeah, but guess what we also are? We're passionate. We love this. And like, it's like, oh, you guys are so like lame. And it's not being lame. It's like it's stepping outside the box because it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan back in the day. Back in the day, I didn't realize how far I go back. They're like, wrestling? That's fake. Yeah, okay, let's see how fake it really is. And now it's global, and now people are doing the DX chop, and people are doing the the rest of the people are doing the people's elbow on the
yeah
football field. So it's gone global, it's gone mainstream. So guess what, ladies? We were right. And to all the girls back in high school that didn't like me because you had wrestling. Why you follow me now? Why you inboxing me? Why you sliding in my DMs? Oh, tantalizing Tony. I was always tantalizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's one hell of a promo. I'll tell you that right now.
That's right. You got a good one there.
But no, honestly, it's just amazing to see what it brings people. I never thought a year later from going to that one show, and this is my first time going to a show outside of the state by myself, didn't know what to expect, just wanted to have a good time, see it for the first time. Because I honestly thought last year, I was like, I might not be able to go to WrestleMania. This is the closest I can get to at least a PLE because it had a very PLE-like atmosphere, the first Raw debut on Netflix. And so going there was a great experience. And then I was able and fortunate enough, thanks to the help of Matt, to go to my first WrestleMania in Vegas last year. And since then, me and him, we went to Survivor Series in San Diego. I've been to multiple shows ever since, they always come out here at the West Coast, especially to the road of WrestleMania. And yeah, it's just amazing to see what it does bring out of people and what it does to just bring happiness and camaraderie and more fans to the sport.
I want to say this about WrestleMania next year in Saudi. I honestly think you two guys should go. What I think you guys should do, listen, it's not as expensive as you think. Because if you get your ticket, your airfare ahead of time, Hilton Garden Inn, you should be endorsing me. Stay at the Hilton Garden Inn in Riyadh. It was not expensive. I stayed there for 4 nights for $328. And it's a 5-star. And if you share a room with somebody, if you share a room with 3 people, your price goes down. Get your airfare. Book your hotel early. I'm telling you, you will not be upset because when you travel with a group, it's so much more fun and so much more content you can get. And also, just so people know, in Saudi Arabia, nothing opens till 5 p.m. So from the time you wake up in the morning till 5 o'clock, you got nothing to do other than talk, maybe do some podcasts, just see some sights, but nothing really open. So it seems like, oh man, there's nothing to do, but there's a lot to do in aspects of learning the culture, talking to people, and getting and not to mention, you can eat all day long. That's one thing that the restaurants are open. But like as for stores, there's a store called Extra there. Extra, that's like Best Buy, not till 5 o'clock. Pharmacies, 5 o'clock. Baskin Robbins was open. The ice cream was delicious out there. But yeah, it's like I really think people should go. I think if you're going to 3-man, 4-man, 4 women, well, women together with the men as a group, you guys have a good time, and you share on the expenses too as well. So,
well, you know what they say in wrestling: never say never, right? So that could definitely be on our list, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to see what's to come. And speaking of the road to WrestleMania, we've got an exciting batch of storylines to talk about. Obviously, you were there in Saudi to see Braun Breaker get attacked by a mystery masked man. coming in as entrant number 2. Didn't even get a touch the Rumble. Got eliminated immediately by Obafemi within the first 10 seconds. Tony, I got to ask you, and I'm going to ask Matt the same question, but what is your idea on who possibly this masked man can be? Is it Seth Rollins? Is it Adam Pearce? Who is it?
So, full disclosure, guys, because I never lied to my audience and the people. We tried to record this yesterday, and I had some issues. I don't know if it was my phone, my audio, but whatever. We talked about this, and I thought about this last night as I went to sleep about who could the masked man be? Because I said, you know what? I'm going to be prepared for this tomorrow because I know Drake's going to ask the question again. Guess what? I still don't know. I have no idea who the masked guy is. I think it's Adam Pearce, but I'm like, maybe it's not. Maybe it sounds dumb because maybe Adam Pearce is going to come out of retirement. If you guys don't know, Scrap Daddy Adam Pearce was a wrestler. Maybe this ties into him and Nick Aldis having a match. Maybe it's bringing Nick Aldis out of retirement, but I really don't know. Could it be Austin Theory working for Seth Rollins because they were together before? You know, maybe this is a swerve. Was it somebody else? Did The Rock put these guys up to this? Maybe it's Paul Heyman hatching a new thing. I'm the guy that predicts everything. I predicted Roman winning. I predicted Liv winning. I predicted every card. I predicted main event CM Punk versus Roman. I can't figure out who's under the mask. It's like the movie Seven. What's in the box? What's in the box? Who's under the mask? I have no idea. I don't know who it is. But if my money's on it right now, I think it's Adam Pearce. I think we might maybe turn into an evil GM, maybe get one of those guys. So maybe it's Adam Pearce. I don't know, but it's crazy.
I know that I've seen a lot of pictures online of people zooming in on the face. They saw a little bit of facial hair, and there's so many people out there trying to guess on who it is and whatnot. So it could be you. It could be you.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
I love that.
Matt, who do you think is the masked man?
Well, for weeks now, guys, I've been saying that this is the fireworks of Monday Night Raw. I know this is upper mid-card storytelling at its best. My money's on Finn Balor. My money is on the demon Finn Balor. I think there's something there. I think gradually we're going to see a downfall of Judgment Day, which we're already kind of seeing. But I think Finn Balor's involved in this, and I think this is a way to definitely screw over the vision. But I think it's a way to try to lock Finn Balor in with CM Punk.
I definitely think there is something there. I mean, we saw that vignette with Finn Balor wanting to go after the world title, wanting to go after Punk, wanting to get that rematch. Obviously, we saw him attempt to get into the Rumble. Apparently, it was full. Yeah. But you know how that goes.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Absolutely.
Detour, because I'm going to go into a rant right here. And this is where you see Tantalizing Tony go batshit crazy, okay? In what universe does Mr. Iguana and La Parka take precedence over the first ever Universal Heavyweight Champion, the Prince, the Demon, Finn Balor? It's full?
Yeah.
What? GT, get the F-O, get out. Come on. What? Get out of here, bro. I need to take a drink. Come on. Are you really serious?
Honestly, I'm a big Finn Balor fan. Ever since he was up in NXT, I saw his come up in New Japan. For me, I was like, no way. But here's the thing. I really do think, and I hope, that 2026 is a year of Finn Balor where he finally gets that push. You know, we obviously saw him win the first Universal Championship and had to relinquish that within the first 24 hours because of an injury. And ever since then, we haven't been able to see him at the top of the world the way that it should have been. I really hope that at some point, and this is my prediction, I really do think that this is the year that I think the Judgment Day kind of crumbles. I think that we've been teased it here and there last year or so with them potentially falling out. But I think this is the year where the Judgment Day finally kind of crumbles and we see Finn go solo. Because solo Finn, we saw that reaction that we had in Belfast when he faced CM Punk for the world title. We saw what he can do individually. Him alone, bring back the old entrance, bring back the Prince Finn Balor, and we will see him main event more events because that's what we want to see. Finn Balor is a very talented professional, and I would love for him to be back on top where he belongs.
100% agree. Can't echo that.
I agree with that as well. Finn Balor hasn't, listen, he's a company guy. I think that Vince didn't know what to do with him because of his size. And I think that Vince saw a way out when he got hurt. Vince doesn't like little guys. He never did. No, none against him. He likes big dudes. I get it. But I really think that in this regime that we get a Finn Balor push for 2026. I'm looking forward to what they do. I don't want to see a triple threat at Mania with him coming into the CM Punk Roman thing. Let them have their moment because I already think we're going to see a triple threat in the other championship match. But I think this is Finn's year. I want to also say something else, if you don't mind. As Matthew did a John Cena, you can't see him. I know this wasn't on topic, but I also think this is the year for LA Knight too. I think LA Knight wins the Money in the Bank. You could clip that. I think LA Knight was Money in the Bank, and I think we see him as world champion at some point before 2026. But yeah, this is Finn's time, and I'm looking forward to what they do because gotta realize people like Roman and CM Punk and Randy and Brock, they're aging out. They're in their 40s, mid 40s, late 40s. So we're gonna start seeing these young, and even though Finn's still, he's there too, but we're gonna see these younger guys really stepping up. I'm really excited about the product right now.
I completely agree. You made a great point with LA Knight as the Money in the Bank, where I think we finally do see that because it's been teased for so long. He was wrestling Roman for the world title not too long ago. He was in that main event picture. He's been kind of screwed out of his luck the last few times breaking to that main event scene. But I do think with him being back, I think there's something for him to earn, and he's earned it. I mean, he's been there. He gets a huge crowd pop every single time he comes out.
I think the four guys going for 26, going into 27, the four main guys are these four guys: Finn Balor, Jacob Fatu, Sami Zayn, and LA Knight. I'm going to make a quick prediction right now for WrestleMania next year. Sami Zayn wins in Saudi. He wins the title next year in Saudi.
Wow.
And that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
Clip that. But those are my four guys for 26 going into 27.
So, Tony, why do you think they haven't pushed LA Knight now? I mean, I think the fans want to see LA Knight, but they have not even... They tease us and then they pull back. They tease us and then they pull back.
I think Triple H, people boo him so much, but I think Triple H has long-term storytelling. We don't need everything right away. Like, look at how long it took the bloodline to really cook, and then it really took off. It took a while. Listen, how long have we been waiting for Roman to break out? Roman was pushed down our throats for 10 years and we didn't accept him until he got with Paul Heyman. He became the tribal chief. And then Jimmy Uso got hurt. And then things started to cook. That was a 4-year story that unraveled. So LA Knight, yeah, he was Max Dupree and he was at NXT and he had the $1 million thing and he was with freaking Cameron Grimes, the whole thing. It takes time. And you have to realize, guys, in wrestling, when you're a star, you don't peak till you're 40 anyway. That's when they really focus on you between 40 and 50 because you can still go. Athletes are different than they were before in wrestling. You could be 47, 48 and be champion. CM Punk is 47 years old. He's the champ. Roman Reigns is in his 40s. Seth Rollins is almost 40. Finn Balor. These guys are in their 40s, so don't panic. I didn't want LA Knight then. Now we're like, now we're itching for it. Like with the Sami Zayn storyline. When Sami Zayn turned on the bloodline, oh my God, people lost their minds. You gotta wait. People like Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green will Money in the Bank this year. People, oh my God, she's old. They don't want her. They keep burying her. The whole thing with Michael Hayes on Unreal was scripted, guys. He said that on purpose. She's just here to elevate other people. That was on purpose to get you upset. Now it's like, push Chelsea Green. Now look at the backlash. Get what I'm saying? Trust me, Chelsea Green's going to be that girl. She checks all the boxes. Patience. The problem with wrestling and us nowadays is this right here, guys. This phone, we want everything right now. Everything's 7 seconds. You know, guys know social media works. If you don't get people in the first 7 seconds, they're gone. So we're so spoiled and like we want it right now. No, wait till the story tells. If you guys watch TV, you know, people binge watch. I watched Breaking Bad in real time. I had to wait. I didn't watch it all, you know. I didn't watch it in a whole thing. Same like Game of Thrones. You had to wait 8 months. You wait. Stranger Things had to wait 2 years for the last season. Be patient. It will pay off in the long run. So patience. LA Knight, Chelsea, Jacob Fatu, all these people, they're going to get their time. It's coming.
You make a very good point. I have never thought of it like that. I never thought comparing it to like binge watching. You know, we all get upset that Raw ended and we're like, okay. And then they revisit it a year later. But I love your point, how you compared it to like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad, the binge watching. And then you have to remember, hey, this happened on episode 1 and they're revisiting it on episode 5.
And that's why we think that, there's so many recaps. Why does WWE recap? Because they're trying to pull people in that maybe they missed something. This is what happened on the last episode of, like, I'm back in the day. I used to watch a show called Dynasty, okay? It was the Carringtons, William Forsythe, Linda Evans. Every week it was a cliffhanger, like Dallas, who shot JR. You have to wait from May until September to find out who killed who, what happened, who shot Bobby, who did that. You gotta wait. Patience. The story's unraveling. Avengers, let's do this. Avengers, Infinity War. You had to wait 1 full year for Endgame. Like, oh my God, Thanos snapped. What's gonna happen? You gotta wait. You gotta wait, and then the payoff. Wait a minute. On your left. On your left. And now, you know, the Avengers assemble. We get the payoff. Boom. Be patient. It's coming.
And you make a great point, because we saw that with the Bloodline story. And that's why, to me, the road to WrestleMania 40 will go down as one, if not the best WrestleMania ever. Because, mind you, that storyline took forever. Obviously, we saw the turning of Rome becoming the head of the table, as you can see right here, become the tribal chief. And then we saw the betrayals that happened, everything leading up to it. And to me, that was peak storyline. It's amazing that you mentioned the Avengers, because that's what it felt like those last 5 minutes, with John Cena coming out, with The Rock coming out. Then we saw Seth dressed as the Shield, and then we saw The Undertaker come out. It was amazing. And the payoff, obviously, Roman being champion for 4 years. It was amazing.
I called that entire scenario, except I had Stone Cold in the Undertaker spot. And I called that, but I called that a year ahead. If you go to any of my stuff, and cheap plug, Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, Tantalizing Tony on Instagram, Tantalizing Tag Team Podcast on TikTok, and Tony Tantalizing on X, but I still call it Twitter. If you go for anything of me predicting that, I said that a year and ahead of time, because you could see the story. Yeah. They called Triple H the cerebral assassin for a reason, okay? And right now he's getting booed. You think that him getting a cover, a specialized cover, is not orchestrated? It's to create buzz. It's to create, what's he putting himself on the cover? To create revenue. When you are mad at something, you talk about it more, which means more people watch. And now the kids are watching, and they target towards kids to buy these shirts, to buy this merch. Because I know I have 14 wrestling shirts hanging up right there. So it's like, we're grown men. You got on merch right now. You got on a hat. You got on a shirt. We all wearing merch. They got us. Come on. They do. But guess what? I'd rather spend my money on a CM Punk shirt than buy a pack of cigarettes. You know? So patience. Enjoy the moment. Yes, critique it. Yes, bitch, whine and complain. That's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to down the product, but you ain't going nowhere. You're not leaving. I'm never going to watch WWE again. You may watch AEW. You may watch TNA. You may watch MLW. You're not leaving. This is the best. WWE's the best thing on the planet. Come on, man. Come on.
Absolutely. And as we like to quote, we're in the postseason. This is our playoffs, and the Super Bowl for us is WrestleMania. And so Triple H is about to cook. I already know. Obviously, he's cooking some stuff up, and a lot of people think we know the direction he's going in, but you already know that's just when you think it's predictable, he throws curveball, and it's going to get people hooked even more. So, speaking of, I want to move on to some of the other storylines that are currently going on. We obviously saw AJ Styles retire at Royal Rumble. I heard that on this podcast with What's Your Story with Stephanie McMahon, he's tempted to put the gloves down in the middle of the ring. Obviously, we didn't see that happen. His response to that was, to never say never. He's got a son that is also interested in wrestling, and you never know. We could see him in TNA again. There's been talks about him possibly going backstage, become a producer, helping the next upcoming generation of stars working over at the Performance Center in Orlando. I want to ask you guys, so I'm going to start off with you. We see the dominance Gunther has put into place ever since he's been on the main roster, held the Intercontinental Championship for 666 days. We saw him as a world champion, not only once, but also twice. We saw him retire now, being dubbed as the career killer, retire Bill Goldberg, retire John Cena, retire AJ Styles. Who do you see as the next victim of Gunther's reign as the career killer?
Now, if you want to really solidify Gunther as the guy that retires everybody, and that's where they're going, these merch shirts can be great. Okay. So you got the career killer, right? You got the career killer. He's, like you said, who's next? Not Goldberg. Who can't you see? John Cena. Who's not phenomenal anymore? AJ Styles. If you really want to put him over that level, what you do is, to make the next big star, you retire the next big thing. So who's next? Sorry, Goldberg, not you. Brock Lesnar. Minnesota, SummerSlam, bye-bye to Brock. And what that does is, that really puts Gunther on a plateau that nobody's ever seen, because Brock Lesnar has beaten everybody that matters in this business. Cena, The Rock, Roman, I go on and on. Randy, he's beaten them all. So what better way to make Gunther that guy that retires Brock Lesnar? So now you've got a career killer. He's killed the careers of multiple time world champions. And then you got a gentleman who's coming up in age that's probably retiring soon too, who's a legend killer. You got a career killer versus a legend killer. And what happens then? Is Randy really ready to go at this point? I don't think so. So maybe we get that building up for WrestleMania 44. We get Randy versus Gunther retire. Maybe some kind of Randy got to retire. And we'll see who really is that next level. Because I think Randy's going to break John Cena's record and get 18. So I think that's where we're going. I think this is to get Randy to the next level. Because we think about what John Cena said. He says, I want to see somebody win 18 and break my record. So I think that the next person on Gunther's list is Brock Lesnar. And we may even get a Chris Jericho thrown in the middle of that prior to Randy Orton. Chris Jericho will be back. And he's got to retire soon too. So maybe we get another star gone that Gunther can retire before he gets to Randy Orton. I think that's where we're going.
And what better way to have the career killer versus the legend killer? I mean, come on now. It's I think it's bound to happen. I think that's a big match to eventually happen. Matt, kind of know what your answer is, but I want to hear your opinion. Who do you think's next?
A lot to digest there. You know, Tony, last week on the podcast, on the episode 5, I mentioned that John Cena said that he wants to see somebody get 18 to shake the hand, right? To shake the man hand. That's why he won 17. And I think whoever wins 18 is going to be the lucky person to induct John Cena into the Hall of Fame. Long-term storytelling, long-term in the future. I think I was hoping to see Brock and Gunther go at it at WrestleMania. We got a little stare down, at the Rumble. Nothing, no interaction, just a stare down. I was hoping to see maybe a night one opener between Brock and Gunther, but I never thought about it because John Cena made a comment right before he left. And I want to say he was talking to CVV, Chris Van Vliet, and he said that Brock was thinking about going out this year in 2026. So I could see that happening in Minneapolis because SummerSlam is there. But I never thought about Randy Orton and Gunther 2-3 years down the road. Wow, that's a lot. But I would love to see Brock and Gunther hit it off at WrestleMania in Vegas.
See, my thing with that is, and it's a great point, but then what do you do? Because who wins that? Because if Brock beats Gunther, it takes all the heat off him. You got to keep the heat on Gunther. And you can't have Brock lose at Mania and then have him retire at SummerSlam. I think you keep them away from each other. What I think you really do is, I think maybe you have Brock maybe go against either Braun or Oba Femi, because that doesn't hurt either one. Because if Brock beats Oba and Oba almost beats him, then he was right there. And if Oba pulls off the upset, elevates Oba, it doesn't hurt Brock at all. But if you put Brock and Gunther together before SummerSlam, I don't know. It was tough.
Well, let me ask you this then. Do you think we see Brock or Gunther in the Elimination Chamber?
That's tough. That's tough. Because my prediction for Elimination Chamber is for Jacob Fatu to win. I think we get a triple threat at WrestleMania. I think we get Drew versus Cody versus Jacob Fatu. But I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get to triple threat if one of them wins the chamber. Does Cody win the chamber and then Jacob Fatu slides in somehow because then Cody says, I invite you to my main event? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Cody wins the chamber and says, since I get to go against Drew now, and you think you're so tough, Jacob, let's make this triple. I invite you into this match. Maybe they do that. I don't know.
Well, for weeks now,
Go.
For weeks now, Dre and I've been talking and I personally think Cody's the guy that took out Jacob. I don't believe Drew did it. Drew said, I didn't do it, and I tell the truth. I'm thinking that Cody's the guy that took Jacob out, and we're going to get a dark side of the American Nightmare.
I've been pushing this for 2 years now. Let's get Homelander. Let's get Cody Rhodes as a heel. Let Cody dye his hair black again. Let him go back. Man, I wish I could find my thumbnail. I would show it to you guys. Oh my goodness, because it's when I tell you guys that I want Cody as a heel so bad, and I've been itching for this. It just is. It's got to happen. You're so right.
Well, speaking of the chamber, next week we do have Rhodes, Fatu, and Zayn for that qualifying match. I've got Fatu winning that qualifying match. So it's either Fatu or Rhodes that are going in, and I don't know. That's going to be the interesting thing is how do you insert Cody or how do you insert Jacob if one of them obviously don't qualify? It's going to be one person coming out of that match. I don't think Sami's going to win. I think it's going to be either Rhodes or Fatu, but who knows? I think maybe they get so invested in each other within the match that Sami Zayn pulls off a win. So who knows?
It's definitely going to be interesting. People are so mad. It's so predictable. Is it really predictable this year?
No.
Is it really? What's going on with this WWE Undisputed Championship? Now, we know we got Roman versus CM Punk. We know we got that. But, we don't even know who mid-carder, like Dominic, who's going against Carmelo Hayes for the U.S. title. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. So it's good. We're right now in a good pocket, a good little area of like, oh, what's going to happen, So I'm ready.
Absolutely. So let's talk the women's side for a second here, because we've got a lot of stuff cooking with the women's side as well. We saw Liv Morgan win the Royal Rumble. Matt had predicted that. Tony, you had predicted that as well. I had Bianca. Unfortunately, Bianca didn't come out and make her return yet. Maybe we do see that return come up with the Elimination Chamber coming up here in the next few weeks. I had predicted prior to the world title match versus Raquel and Stephanie that Raquel would come out of that. It would be Raquel Liv for WrestleMania. Somehow in the mix, obviously Raquel was like, don't get involved in my match. I want to just do this alone, solo dolo. Obviously, Stephanie won that match. Tony, I want to ask you first. Who do you see Liv facing at WrestleMania?
So tough because I think the money is Liv Raquel, but Raquel lost on Monday. So, because listen, as much as I love Stephanie McCoy, I don't know if she's like as good as she is. I personally don't get that she's over with the crowd as much as she should be. I think that you need a higher profile person in that. Now, people say Raquel's not that woman. Yes, she is. Raquel, former NXT champion, and people don't realize Raquel was on a great trajectory to go to the top, but she had her skin issues, and she was gone for a while. But there may be a women's triple threat too. Who knows? But it's so hard to see. I mean, right now we got, maybe Liv pulls a swerve and picks Jade. She hasn't made a choice yet. So I don't know. I know her lifting the belt, the world title, the women's world title at Raw. I think that's to swerve us. Naomi swerved us and went against Io instead of going against, Tiffany. So it's so tough, man. But whatever the case is, Liv will be crowned champion in Vegas. Liv's winning that title, So do we get a Bianca return at the Chamber? She's been gone for a while. That broken finger has taken her out, But I can't. This is what blows my mind because I'm so confident on my predictions. And right now I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm just looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I am as well. Matt, what's your take?
I'm a fan. I guess Liv Morgan was going to win it in Saudi, as she did. She nailed the Oblivion the other night on Stephanie, held up the women's title, like you said, on Raw. And then she was on SmackDown on Friday. Her and Jade Cargill had a little segment. And then, of course, Raquel was there. Nick Aldis made the match, made a tag match. So now we got a women's title match with Jade and I believe not Julia, but from NXT, the new up-and-coming star. She was there. And that's the match on Friday. I think Liv will be on SmackDown. But I don't know where they're going to go with it. You mentioned earlier, the cerebral assassin takes us in so many different directions. I would love to see Liv and Raquel at WrestleMania. I think that's where it's probably going to head. And I think that's going to be the moneymaker.
Do we see, I mean, it sounds like it, but do we think that Stephanie McCoy is going to drop the title before WrestleMania?
Io did last year.
This is when you have to look at merch sales. Who's killing it merch-wise? Who's really killing it? Who can they put in that spot? Are fans invested to see Liv versus Stephanie McCoy? Is there chemistry there? Are you invested in that? And I don't know. Liv versus Jade is more exciting to me if you think about it. And I think Liv could carry that match. Because Jade is champion, as much as everybody loves her, she's not defending the title. They're still hiding her weaknesses. But Liv versus Jade, and maybe even see some kind of chicanery with the Judgment Day that maybe Raquel might even cost Liv the it's so tough. The women are the hardest thing to figure out right now because now you got Rio, which is Rhea and Io together in the tag team scene, and you got the Bellators come back. I think the Bellas are going to win at Mania. They're going to beat them in the upset the universe. You got the two most popular women's wrestlers in a tag team. Yeah. So it's like, what do you do? Like it's mind blowing right now on which way you go.
And I always ask myself this: who could open up night one or night two? Right? Usually the women's title match opens up the show. So who could open up night one? Could Liv and Jade carry it? Who would be the babyface? Who would go in as the heel? As of right now, they're kind of both playing a heelish character. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with Liv and Raquel to answer your question, Andre. And I think that they could definitely open up night 1 or night 2.
You know,
Absolutely.
you make a good point with everything, but it's like, if you really think about it, right? Does it really matter who the face or the heel is at this point? Because everybody now, the lines are blurred, because we got Jacob Fatu, we got Cody, we got Drew. Like, out of that, Drew's the baby face. Drew's getting attacked.
Yeah.
Drew's getting beat up now. So it's like Cody's after Jacob. Is Jacob a face? Jacob. Everybody's a tweener, it seems like. So it's really cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
lots of great things happening. Lots of great things happening. And speaking of great things, Obafemi, we saw him have that little squash match on SmackDown against Kid Wilson, barely even a match. And then on Raw, we did see him not only just one opponent, but 2 opponents in the War Raiders, and just ragdoll them.
Buried.
We saw that stare down happen at Royal Rumble between him and Brock Lesnar. We just talked about it previously, because I do want to touch on Obafemi, because I think Oba is going to be the next big thing. Do we see Obafemi and Brock Lesnar for sure WrestleMania in Vegas?
That's the way they're going, if you ask me. I think, first of all, only one other person left NXT champion. That's Asuka. And you see how much they pushed her. Obafemi landing on the NXT title said a lot. 2 things it did. Number one, it said, in a bad way, I'm too big for NXT. I don't need this title. I'm leaving. What I also did was said, I'm too big for NXT. I'm going. So they definitely have big plans for him. The War Raiders, arguably, one of massive tag teams, he destroyed them. Not just beat them, destroyed 2 big men who are former tag team champions, who are very high on the food chain of tag teams with Triple H. He destroyed them. Who else does that? Who else beats people like that other than Brock Lesnar? It's a no-brainer. You got to put Brock and Oba together. And I think you put Oba over. And I think you put Oba over. I think what you do is, and maybe this is where you get a little bit of a Gunther tease, because maybe Gunther costs Brock, keeps everybody strong. Oba beats him clean, but with a little distraction from Gunther. That's how you get to SummerSlam. But Oba, man, it throws a monkey wrench in everything, because if they have plans for LA Knight and Finn and other people, now what you do with Oba? Because to me, if you put the secondary title, the US title or the IC on him, yeah, you can hold him and make him next level, but then what do you do with him? Who beats him for the IC or the US? You want to see him lose? If you book Oba the way they used to book the Ultimate Warrior, you could do it. And by that, I say this. Let me give you some nostalgia. Back in 1990, Ravage Rick Rude beat Ultimate Warrior for the IC title. Might have been 89. Whatever it was. And what they did was they had Bobby Heenan hold down Ultimate Warrior's legs. Rick Rude pinned him. At SummerSlam, Ultimate Warrior got the title back with some help from Roddy Piper. And then they booked Ultimate Warrior unbeatable up to WrestleMania against Hogan at WrestleMania 6. And of course, Warrior beat Hogan cleanly. If you book Oba in a mid-card title in the IC US, you have him lose dirty, win it back clean, and you push him to have the IC or US title going into Mania, going for a main title, making a title for title match. So you do that. You could regurgitate that storyline and put Oba, like I said, WrestleMania 40, 43, in Saudi, but I wouldn't do it there. I'd wait a year and get it 44 when it's back in the States. I don't think you have a black man win the title at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I don't see it. But
speaking of elevation, obviously we saw that with him being elevated in NXT and he's getting elevated here on the main roster, we still haven't seen him sign officially yet to a brand. Tony, and I'm gonna ask you the same thing, Matt. Where do you see him signing? SmackDown or Raw?
Who's this? Who's signing where?
Obafemi, because we've seen an emphasis in the storyline of where's Oba signing. Adam Pearce is frantically trying to sign him for Raw. Nick Aldis is trying to frantically sign him for SmackDown. Where do we see him? Because no matter where he goes, he's going to elevate that brand immensely. With the way that he's dominating, he's going to dominate that brand. Where do we see him going after?
The reason why I didn't really hear what you said, because I was still formulating like what's going on, like how they do it. So my brain just zoned out for a second. But if you want to, everybody who says that Raw is the better show, we're the flagship. I think you leave him on SmackDown, because on SmackDown he then can elevate that show, and you got to watch for 3 hours. You know, I think you have a former NXT champion and current US champion Carmelo Hayes. If you want to push Oba, maybe you put Oba versus Carmelo and have him just take the US title back. Or maybe just have him run through everybody on SmackDown and just wait until, let's see what happens with Jacob and Drew and Cody. And maybe we put him in the world title picture somewhere there. It's so much you can do. But I think SmackDown is a show for Obafemi because you have more time. Raw, that 2 hours goes by fast now, if you notice. So maybe you get him a place where he can just, even have a gauntlet match and run through 5 guys and just run through everybody. There's things that you can do on SmackDown because of the 3 hours that you can't do on Raw. So I think SmackDown's the place to go.
Matt, your take.
With Obafemi, I love Oba. I think it's great. I love the fact that he left the NXT title in the ring and walked away. I'm going to go a 360 on this, guys. I don't think we see Oba at WrestleMania. I think we see him the night before on SmackDown, and I think he wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And that's his WrestleMania moment. I'm not saying that he's not going to be an all-star. I'm not saying he's not going to be a champion one day. I think there's too much going on the road to WrestleMania to where you could squeeze him in. He ain't getting involved with Punk and Roman. He ain't going to mess with Drew and Cody and Jacob's little story yet. I'm going a whole 360. I think he wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on SmackDown, the SmackDown before WrestleMania, and I think that's his WrestleMania moment. He may show up with the trophy at WrestleMania and give us a visual, but I think that's where we see him. And I'd like to see him signed to Raw. That's what I was saying. But I understand what you're saying about the 2-3 hour difference. That makes a big deal.
I think you're right. That's a great point. I think that he does win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, but I think that he wins it. I think they put it back on WrestleMania and put it on night 1.
Wow.
I don't think we see it on SmackDown. I think we see it at WrestleMania where he eliminates like 20 people. I think we see him win it there. Because listen, if you guys remember at WrestleMania 30, Cesaro eliminating the Big Show, what a pop. I think you do it on WrestleMania and give him his WrestleMania moment and have his big self pick up that trophy in the ring and do it at Mania. So I think you're right, but I think they take it off of SmackDown and bring it on to WrestleMania night 1.
That was cool because the last 2 years it's been on the SmackDown, but that would be cool to move it back to Raw, or move it back to WrestleMania. That would be really cool.
I'd love to see that.
Well, we've got a lot of good things cooking, a lot of stuff cooking for not only just the Elimination Chamber, but we've got a huge road to WrestleMania coming up. Vegas, WrestleMania 42. We can't wait to see what's to come. We're just getting started here, boys. We're in our postseason. Like I said before, we're in our playoffs, and I can't wait to see what unveils the next few weeks. Every single SmackDown, every single Raw is going to be must-see TV, and I can't wait to see what unravels. Especially for me, what I'm looking forward to is the Punk Roman. That's my bread and butter. I want to see 2 great storytellers go at it, and who else is to get involved with that. So with that being said, episode 6, Ringside Rewind podcast. Tony, thank you for having us on, having you come onto our podcast and just be a part of it as our first guest. Tony, you got anything to say before we sign off here?
Asking me if I have anything to say. That's all I do is talk. So, first of all, thank you, man. Thank you, Andre, for both having me on. It was a pleasure and honor. And thanks a lot. I had a great time. I'm going to say a couple of things real quick in closing. Number one, anybody out there who's content creating, CBV gave me this. Chris Van Vliet told me this. Just do it. Just go. Just start. Don't listen to the naysayers. They're jealous. They're mad. They're haters. Drink their haterade, okay? Number one. Number two, shout out to my daughter, the producer, Kira, who makes sure that the channel is great and she pushes everything. I love her very much. She does a great job at helping me get next level. Now I'm about to cut a big promo. 2026, guys, and you're going to get breaking news. This is for you guys. Everybody who knows me knows I've been doing this for a long time in aspects of being in the business as a wrestler, a booker, a referee, a manager, ring crew for ECW, working for ECW, HWA, wrestling, being in the Hall of Fame of NYWC. True story. When I tell you guys that this has been a long, treacherous road in aspects of trying to get my name next level, and it's so hard, I'm announcing that 2026 is my last year of content creating if I don't get to certain numbers where I need to get to. Now, I don't know what that number is yet, but I know that having only 3,400 followers on Instagram is not where it's at. I'm at 25,000 on YouTube, should be way higher. So what I'm telling everybody is this, is if you guys love content that I do and don't want me to quit, this is when you guys start sharing my stuff. Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. Tantalizing Tony on Instagram. Tantalizing Tag Team Podcast on TikTok. And Tony Tantalizing on X, also Twitter, whatever you call it. If you guys like content and like good wrestling content and like guys who tell the truth and a person who is not afraid to go next level, this is when you out there need to follow me and get me next level because I deserve it. Not because I earned it. I deserve it. It belongs to me. It's my time. It's my time. I'm sorry, guys. Real talk. I'm really tired and it's a lot of work and I need your guys' help. So I'm trying to go next level. I'd rather not retire, but if 2026 ain't my year, I'm leaving to the young guys. These guys can have it. They can have all my followers, my subscribers. They can have it all. I'm done. But I just want to say this in closing. I love this business. I love wrestling. I love doing this stuff, and it's great to be a part of this community. And thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here tonight. And my prediction for Wrestlemania, by the way, CM Punk retains against Roman Reigns. Okay.
Well, I guess that's a spoiler.
Matt, closing words, and thank you, Tony, for that. Honestly, we're like I said, we're grateful for you to take the time out of your day and be a part of our podcast, Super Bowl Sunday. Matthew, closing words.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Tony, for taking the time and coming on. We appreciate you. That was one hell of a pro wrestling promo. Loved it. It was awesome. But with that being said, thank you, Pro Wrestling World, for Ringside Rewind tuning in. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you all next week on the Ringside Rewind.
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, in case you don't know, I am the YouTube champion.
Oh, wow.
There he is.
I am the Tantalizing Tony heavyweight champion right there. And in case you guys didn't know, I am one half of the greatest father-daughter wrestling podcast under God's hot sun, under God's green earth, the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. So I'm a 3-time champion. I'm three-peated. There we go. I'm done now. Okay.
Here is your winner. And still the YouTube champion.
Before we sign off, it's Super Bowl Sunday. Who do you guys have? Seahawks or Patriots?
Let's go Seattle.
Matthew's going Seattle. Tony, who do you have? I know y'all on the East Coast.
I hate New England clam chowder. I hate the Boston Red Sox, and I hate the Patriots. I'm going with the Seahawks, baby.
Absolutely. We're all in the same boat. Seahawks beat my Rams, so I'm going to go for them. And their kicker's Filipinos as well. So definitely got to go with my people. So with that being said, episode 6 wrapping up here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and all the other social platforms we're on. We'll see you guys for episode 7. Thank you guys once again for subscribing, following, sharing, and just listening to us talk about pro wrestling and whatnot. Thank you again, Tony, for hopping on. Matthew, it's always a pleasure to be with you every week.
Hey, stay tantalizing. Stay tantalizing, by the way, okay?
and stay
Yeah.
tantalizing. Thank you guys so much. Signing off. Episode 6, Ringside Rewind
Thank you all.
Podcast.
Have a
Matt and
good day.
Andre.